Hey guys, what's going on? My name's Eric, and today I wanted to talk about something that I think is quite relevant to a lot of producers out there. If you watch this channel, you might know I'm a music producer myself. I have 3 singles out now. They're on the channel if you want to check them out. Now, it's quite common amongst us producers to not be the best singers, let's just say. We're good at producing music, we're good at producing instrumentals, but when it comes to getting a vocalist, it's something we can't really do ourselves, so what do you do? And that's basically what I wanted to talk about today, the idea of finding vocalists or singers to sing the songs that you've written for you. I just kind of wanted to do a video about this as it's something I feel like I've had a bit of experience in myself. A lot of trial and error, a lot of different methods I've gone about it. First up, I wanted to go into the 2 obvious methods of finding a vocalist, which might seem pretty obvious, but it's not always something people think about straight away. So I've done both of these methods. The first one is, of course, finding a singer in real life who you know, someone who you know is good, or it doesn't even have to be someone you know, just someone who you can access, I suppose, in real life. And then you either have the choice of doing a session with them, so inviting them into a studio somewhere and kind of overseeing them record your song, or maybe they can go off and do it themselves somewhere if, you know, they're far away from you or something like that. Then the second method is, of course, finding someone online through websites like Fiverr, outsourcing the singing, so really there can be anyone in the world, and you just basically send off your instrumental and lyrics and a demo of it, of you singing it maybe. So they give it a listen, they try and learn it, they cover it, they record it, and then they send it back to you. So I think there's one really important thing to know, especially if you're going the route of recording with someone you know. This is just something that I find time and time again with my personal experience. I mean, I've mostly done session singers and outsourced it online, but, you know, I've had a little bit of the same issue there sometimes, and it's something I think is really important to mention. So let's say that you know someone who you know is really talented as a singer. You know, maybe they've got a reputation for it, they're just totally amazing at singing, and you might instantly think, oh great, if I get them to sing on my track, it'll sound great. That's not necessarily going to be true. I found the most important thing when looking for someone to sing on your track is the style. Like, you really want to find someone who can sing in the style of your track. Their voice, their actual voice suits the style of the track. What I mean by that is that it matters more what someone's voice sounds like than what their technical ability is with singing. Like, don't get me wrong, I think if you're going to find a singer, they have to, you know, have a minimum sort of standard. You know, they have to be able to sing fairly decently, but there's a lot of people who can sing decently, especially if you go with the online route. And even, you know, if you do find someone who's really technically talented, again, that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to suit your track. I know often people who are really talented can be quite versatile, but even still, just to use an analogy, it's like if you're playing a piano, which is quite a versatile instrument. It can play a lot of different genres. Say you want to play like rock music on the piano. Technically you could do it, and you could get all the pitch right and the rhythm right, the notes right, and on a technical level get it all right. But at the end of the day, it's still a piano, and an electric guitar is probably going to sound better for that style of music. And that's kind of how I think of it with singers as well. Like, they can be really technically talented and do everything technically right, but at the end of the day, if they don't have the right kind of voice, which is something they can't really change, it's just not going to work. The other thing is if they don't sing it absolutely technically as you want, you can alter a lot of things in their voice in production, actually. One thing I've done on a track that I'm working on at the moment is actually sped up a person's voice. They recorded it at a slower tempo, so it was easier to get a lot of really tricky technical nuances in, and then I sped it up to a faster BPM afterwards. You can also go about retuning words if they ever go out of pitch, or if they've done a few takes, then you can chop up the best parts of each take and then turn it into one take. There's a lot of cool tricks you can really use, and a lot of it you really don't notice, honestly. Like, if you're good at production, you can really get away with a lot of it, and people aren't going to notice. But going now into the benefits of both of those methods, like real life and online, I would definitely say this is one benefit of online. You have a wealth of choice. A lot of the websites have a sort of catalog system. You search for, you know, the style of voice you want, like by genre, or, you know, people they sound similar to, and then the results come up and you can go through all the different vocalists and give them all a listen and see, you know, who you like the sound of the most. It really allows you to cherry pick the exact voice you want for your track. The first obvious method to me of recording with someone in real life is if you're with them there in the session. You can really talk things over with them as they're recording, which really saves emails being sent back and forth. You can like get the whole recording done in a few hours. It's like just a one-time thing. You're not waiting like a week or more for someone to get back to you with the vocals they recorded. It doesn't matter if you're working with a really unorganized person who's probably going to forget to send you their vocals, because you're working with the person in the moment. You've got the vocals straight away. You don't have to wait forever to get back a revision. You can just do it all in the moment. You can do 100 revisions, get it all done in like a few hours. So basically overall, it's a better option in the actual recording process once you've actually found someone. But as I said before, actually finding a person is much more ideal with the online route. You can really cherry pick. With the track I'm working on at the moment, I have spent 5 months looking for vocalists because I have been super picky. I've been through about 8 different vocalists. On the 8th one, I finally got it, but there was 7 before that. But I knew I could be picky because I knew there would be someone out there who would just suit the track slightly more. And in the end, it paid off. So this is something, as I said, I can't stress this enough. Really be picky when you're looking for the right style vocalist for your track. So when it comes to hiring session singers online, there are 3 websites I would personally recommend the most. There are actually like dozens of websites for finding session vocalists, but when it comes down to it, there are really only 2 types of session singer hire websites out there. The first type are businesses that have in-house session singers, people they've hired who go to a location and record for them in a studio. There's only a limited amount of people. These types of websites I personally wouldn't recommend. There's not as much choice, and the legalities and technicalities of, hiring people, how you divide the costs and all this jazz, it's much more in the discretion of the business rather than the individual, which can cause some problems if you're an independent producer who doesn't have a massive budget and, just wants someone to sing their song, basically. The other type of websites are websites that anyone can sign up to offer their singing services to. Some of these websites might have a certain standard that the singers need to reach. They might have admins that review, someone's singing quality before allowing them to be on the site. But regardless, it's not a business with in-house session singers. It's a website with independent singers in their own right. And what this means is that often they're a lot more relaxed in the way they work with you. They might give you a free demo if you ask for it. A lot of them I've worked with have, if you just want them to sing like a few seconds so you can get an idea for what their voice sounds like on the track, an idea I'd highly recommend. A lot of them will do this. With that being said, this is still something that varies across the sites, even the ones with independent singers. Going back to what I was saying though, the 3 websites I recommend are Sound Better, Fiverr, and Vocalizer. So starting off with Sound Better, so what I was saying before about quality standards on these websites, Sound Better is probably the highest in this regard. Only the best quality vocalists are allowed to be on this site. I think they have to go through an auditioning process to actually get up onto the site. One other thing you'll notice is that a lot of the artists on this website, they'll have a lot of credits with other talented people in the industry, big names. So if you want someone really talented for your track, this is definitely a good option to go with. But as I was saying before, this isn't really the be-all and end-all when looking for someone to sing on your track, so that's why I would personally not recommend this website in most cases. The prices are a lot dearer, like, anyone on my budget cannot afford this site in most cases. It can be different if you're looking for someone to play an instrument, which is another thing that's offered on this website, but if you're looking for vocalists, be prepared to pay like 500 plus. In a few lucky circumstances, some people are willing to, pay a cheaper rate, but on the whole, they are fairly pricey vocalists, so not one that I would recommend as my first option. The other thing I found with this website is that a lot of the vocalists can be a little bit snobby. They sort of have this idea that because they've worked with all these big industry names that they're better than you and that they can, they decide all the rules and what they want to do and they'll take as long as they like, charge you as much as they want. It's not the nicest experience I've had compared to the other websites I've used, so yeah, not going to recommend this one as my first option. Going into one of the other options though, Fiverr. This is one I would certainly recommend using. At first I didn't think much of it because it's just basically a website where you can outsource anything. It's not really specific to vocalists. But if you really do some digging, there are actually a lot of really great vocalists on this website. As I was saying before, the vocalist I was looking for the current song I'm working on, I found on this website. That is the 8th vocalist after those 7 other vocalists I found on Vocalizer. The biggest benefit of Fiverr is that people are very cheap. On the whole, you can get some pretty cheap vocalists on this website who are still pretty good. The downside of this website, mainly two things. One, it's not optimized for looking for vocalists. You're not going to be able to type in the type of genre or style you want people to be in or who they sound like. Really, you just go to the session singer category and then hope you can find someone. But yeah, at the end of the day, I would recommend this one because if you can find someone, it's certainly worth it. It's really cheap and you can get talented people if you look hard enough. And finally, Vocalizer. This website has a sole purpose. It is for producers to find vocalists and vocalists to find producers. And because of that, it has some really great specific search criteria. You can, as I said before, search who an artist sounds like, what style you want them to be in, where you even want them to live. Say you want to meet the vocalist, like I could search for someone in Sydney. I've done that before actually, and I know that person now personally. The prices here are kind of middle of the range. You can get some who are really expensive, but you can certainly get a lot who are cheap as well. And on the whole, I would say people on this website are probably more talented than people on Fiverr on the whole. Of course, there's always exceptions, and there are always going to be talented people on Fiverr and people who aren't talented on Vocalizer. But overall, the majority of people on Vocalizer are pretty talented. Anyway, I hope this has helped you a little bit. One thing I especially find I love about finding session singers is also making friends with these people. It's really fun to find someone who's passionate about something that you're passionate about as well. As I said, I'm now personally a friend of someone I work with on Vocalizer, and especially even if you're looking for someone in real life, that's another great way to make friends. One of the tracks I did, which you can hear on my YouTube channel now, Cabanya, the vocalist on that was actually a busker I approached on the street, which is quite a unique thing, but we're also friends now. So yeah, it's a great way to meet people, but at the end of the day, just be persistent with it. Really get picky about, finding someone who suits the style of your track before anything else. You might make some friends, you might not, but regardless, I really hope this video helps you in your search for vocalists on your track. And until next week, I will see you all later. Ciao.